Hello Physical Fiends, it is Jordan here with another Worth of Purchase where I play a game for a short amount of time to see if I'd buy it myself. Today, I'm taking a look at Old School Rally, which released digitally last week. But this is Physical Paradise, and I only care about physical video games, and this does and will have a physical release, which I will detail later in the video, but I've linked them down in the description and pinned comment if you want to grab it and support me at the same time. So, this game is a love letter to the old school rally games I'm sure many a mid-30s or older guy, such as myself, are aware of. Whether you've played them or not, you all know about Sega Rally and Colin McRae. The latter was a staple PlayStation game, at least in Europe. This game pays tribute to those games. It looks and is structured more similarly to Colin McRae, but the physics feel a bit closer to that of Sega Rally, at least to me, and it's doing a decent job for an indie game. It feels pretty good to play, but it does have its ups and downs. Before I get into that, I will say, if you love old school rally games, you will really enjoy this. It won't eclipse the classics, but it will certainly scratch that itch that you have. So there are a decent selection of cars, but most of them are locked initially, and you have to win cups and also prize money in order to unlock more. They are all satisfying knockoffs of great classic rally cars, and if you know even the faintest knowledge about the sport, they are instantly recognizable. They are, however, not all born equal. So let me get to the downs of the game, and that, for me, is mainly in the fact that some of the cars are just not good to play as. There are a variety of cups and competitions to go through, and let me tell you my story for an example. The Novice Cup, of course, it was always going to be a little bit of a challenge, purely for the fact that you're getting used to the controls, the physics, and the tracks, everything's new to you. The Intermediate Cup, however, was torture. I had to try stages over and over and over again in order to pass the required time. The Expert Cup was an absolute breeze. So what gives? Well, it was just the car. The car I chose for the Intermediate Cup made my life miserable for an hour. And it made me dislike the game when you couple it with the less than perfect collision physics and some, wonky glitches I had turned on the game at that point. I was not liking it. However, once I got past that and I chose a different car for the Expert Cup, I drove like an absolute dream. It was glorious. Instead of spending time balancing on road barriers, I was sweeping around every corner, destroying the time requirements. So yeah, I do suggest pick the right car. Now don't get me wrong, I know it's not a simulator, it is an arcade game at heart, but I would also appreciate some more attention put into some map areas where your car can overreact to some bump in the road, which can basically destroy your run for something very innocuous. But when I was playing Expert, I almost didn't want to stop playing. The game did a complete 180 on me. I started to love it. There are lots of tracks, but not all of them are winners, at least the ones that I played so far. I'd say that I like about 80% of them. I wasn't fond of Japan, despite the nice visuals. China just looks a bit boring, and also Greece. The latter two especially, the track layout just wasn't very good in my opinion. It's just chicane leading into a chicane leading into a chicane. Like, let me put my foot down for a little bit, instead of slamming into the walls. But overall, the presentation is really nice. The 32-bit visuals aren't wholly convincing as something you'd find back in the day, but they do a good job. I am a big fan of texture warping, and I was not disappointed here. There is also a CRT filter that you can put on, but that's just really bad. It just pixelates the game and makes it look like a Game Boy Advance game. They're totally barking up the wrong tree with that filter, but the game looks good without it. Cars look great, as do the majority of the environments. The soundtrack is also excellent. There's loads of variety, and it really took me back in a good way. In terms of the physical release, well, if you check the links down below in the description and pinned comment, you'll see that there is a standard edition, a physical release, available on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 5. This is already out in Europe. It came out at the same time as the digital release. You can grab it right this second if you want to. However, North America is also getting the physical release on both those consoles next year. It has a placeholder date for March 20th, which may or may not change in the future. If you want the North American edition, you can purchase via the links down below in the description and pinned comment from VGP, and I really do appreciate that support. You can get things shipped for free worldwide if you have an order over 75 Canadian bucks, which is like 54 American dollars. Not that much. But would I buy this myself? Well, during the first half an hour, I was enjoying it. Then the next hour, I was not enjoying it. In fact, I kind of hated the game. And then, after that, I started to enjoy myself again quite a lot. And that's all to do with the car choice. It's funny how having a crap car can make the game feel crap, but then you got something that feels good to drive and the game feels good to play. So do make sure you get to grips with which car suits you the best, and then I think this is an enjoyable game. If you were worried about a Sega Rally amount of content, then you don't need to. There's plenty of cups, plenty of tracks, time trials, cars to unlock. I think it will be worth the price if you're hankering for some old school rally. What do you think? Will you be picking this up, or did you already purchase the European version? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know what your favorite old school rally game is. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Take care.
Hairpin left. Easy right. Checkpoint. Hairpin left.